What's up guys, Justin here with the CGEssentials.com, back with another Blender Geometry Nodes video for you. So I'm trying to highlight some of the cool stuff that's happening in the community as a part of the whole geometry nodes getting built out and getting new things added. So this week I wanted to highlight a very cool geometry node setup that basically builds an object out of Legos inside of Blender. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. So a lot of you might remember a while ago we did a video on this awesome Eevee real-time waterfall shader. So this new geometry node setup is from the same author. It's from Ben, BBBN19. You can follow him on Twitter to see some of the cool stuff that he's doing. But this week he's put out a geometry nodes Lego assembly. And basically what this does is this builds this Lego assembly using geometry nodes, using the proximity modifier and everything like that. So first off, you can download that by going to his Gumroad page. So note that you can download that for free. So to help guys like Ben keep creating really cool stuff, if you can afford to donate to him or pay a little money to get this, I'd really appreciate if you did that just to support him so he can keep going. But I did want to kind of talk through what this does and kind of the way that it looks. Again, I'm not a geometry nodes expert, so if you want to check out the nodes, you can download this and check it out yourself. But basically what it does is if you were to click the play button right here, what it does is it uses proximity around an object right here. So in this case, it's called the Effector, in order to build a grid object inside of Blender. And so you can see how this comes in here, and this actually builds this around that object. And so one thing to note about that is this is live, meaning if I was to move the Effector around, you can see how that's going to affect what the Legos are going to do in real time inside of Blender. I do want to note the shading that he gets in his files is fantastic. So the way he's set up the lighting in here looks really good as well. But basically what's going on here is you've got your geometry nodes for your actual creation itself, and it's putting these on a grid somehow. So if I tab into edit mode, for example, you can see how there's different grids in here. I'm not sure exactly how that's set up, if these are in here as surfaces. They look like they're in here as planes, but I'm not 100% sure. And so you've got your grid in here, and your geometry nodes are setting the location of these objects. And so if we click on this object, you can see what options are in here for the geometry nodes. And you can see how the way he's created this animation is he's keyframed the falloff radius around that object. And so when he keyframed the falloff radius, what it's doing is it's pushing all those objects away based on their location relative to the effector. So for example, if I was to move this out like this, notice how the location of the effector is driving what's in here right now. You can change the way that this animation works by changing some of the options inside of the nodes associated with the grid. So for example, notice how I can adjust things like the randomization by using this slider right here. You can also adjust the end offset. So if you want these to come in from the side as well as from the bottom, you can do that as well. So that end offset is affecting what direction those are coming in from when you're running this animation. And so it's kind of interesting because you can play around in here and you can affect like the scale of the objects that are getting placed on the grid. So notice at the end, basically what these are is these are instances being placed on the grid. So they've got a little bit of randomization applied to them as well, just to give them the look that they're placed in here, but they're not exactly exact like you'd see on Legos. But you can use this to affect that. And then we can take a look really quick at the nodes if you want to see them. What's happening is the falloff that's in here, which you can adjust inside of the geometry nodes, is affecting what's happening to these objects. So I suspect if we were to go into weight paint mode, and so again, I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what all of this is doing. I can tell that the falloff is driving when and where these go, but then down below, this seems to be driving where the location and rotation is. So basically, it's almost acting like a push or a pull. So as I move this, notice how everything is happening around that effector. So again, mostly what I wanted to do was just highlight what people like Ben are doing with geometry nodes and to encourage you to go support him. I want to do something where I kind of highlight cool stuff like this every week. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. So again, go download this at the link down below. I'll link to some other videos about geometry nodes on this page. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you like going through and highlighting some of the cool stuff that's happening in the community. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.